So you just bought your first baitcaster and you need to know how to put fishing line onto the spool. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. My name is Wesley Littlefield with YourBassGuy.com, and today I'm going to teach you how to spool a baitcaster. That way you look like a pro every single time. So there's one really important thing to remember when spooling your baitcaster, and that is to pay attention to what direction your spool is spinning. If you look, when you turn the handle clockwise, the spool actually spins counterclockwise. So that means that you want to take your line spool here and you want it to run counterclockwise as well when the line comes off of the spool. Basically what that means is that you want this spool spinning the same direction as this spool on your reel. That's all that means, counterclockwise, whatever. If that's a little confusing, just always remember that if this is spinning the same direction as this, you're good. With that out of the way, now we're actually going to spool the reel. Now, one thing that I usually don't do until the second time that I try to spool my reel is run it through this guide right here. Be sure to do that, otherwise your reel's not going to work very well. Now, my reel, as you can see, it actually has holes in the spool. Some reels do, some reels don't. It doesn't matter. It makes it easier to spool this one because you can poke it through the hole like so. Put the extra line. Alright, now that we've got it through, we're going to, I just tie a simple overhand knot. There's all kinds of different knots you can tie, but I like to keep things really simple. So now I clip off the excess here, that way it doesn't intrude so much, and now we are ready to reel. To spool your spinning reel, you can buy the little fancy contraption. I believe Berkley makes one, I think Cast King makes one too, or you can just have a pin, your reel, and a spool line. It's really not complicated. All you got to do is punch a hole through the center here, and they actually have it lined up, and that's it. And you're just going to apply the pressure as you reel a little bit. It's kind of cumbersome for one person, so if you've got a buddy that helps you, then that's great. But if not, you can do this absolutely by yourself. To do it by yourself, I'll stick the spool in between my knees like that, and then I'll actually pinch the line up here and reel and reel and reel and reel. You can see I'm by myself, and the way I spooled it on here was I literally just sat down, stuck the pencil in between my knees with the spool on it, and just started reeling and applied tension to the line. Now you'll notice that I stopped with about 1/8 of an inch left of the spool showing. Like I said, this decreases the chances of your backlashes. So when spooling a baitcaster by yourself, you really got to sit down and put the pin in between your knees and with the spool on it, and then reel it up. That's what I had to do. You can use your fingers to help guide it and apply pressure. That way you get a nice secure spool against your baitcaster, because if you don't, that increases your chances of getting a backlash. You also want to stop about 1/8 of an inch before it fills the spool completely up. So you want to be able to see about 1/8 of an inch of the spool. And that's also decreases the chances of your backlash, because when you're casting out there and you've got so much line going out, sometimes that line has a tendency just to jump off the spool, and tightening it and then having a little bit less helps tremendously reducing your backlashes. Now, that's how you spool a baitcaster. There's no need to really overcomplicate it. Really simple, but now you need to learn how to cast it. And that's what this video down below me is for. Go ahead and check it out to learn how to cast like a pro. And always remember that education is important, but fishing is essential.